Because you're dealing with humans. And there isn't one person here who could have told me what would have happened if my best friend said, when those lights go on, you're going to fail.
I think that a teacher has to teach controversial issues or it makes a mockery of education.
As the times change, you should, mold your curriculum to the times.
I feel the teacher salaries are adequate for me, but perhaps for a man supporting a family of 2, 3 children, maybe they're not very adequate.
See, as a young teacher, I'm satisfied with my image, but then as an older teacher might not be satisfied.
I think that if a teacher wants a dignified position, if a teacher earns a dignified position, a teacher will get that dignified position.
And when the day comes that we, as educators, can govern ourselves, then I think we will have arrived as a profession.
Teachers care about children and how they learn or don't learn in the classroom.
So you can't predict what's going to happen.
Teachers care about the society in which those children live and the problems of pollution, drugs, and racial strife.
All right. Why do they always try to find rules?
Teachers care about their profession, about money enough to buy what a classroom needs, a textbook for every child, money enough to live on without moonlighting, and they care about their professional image.
Let me hear you say, "See."
The image of the teacher in his community is important. It is vital in the classroom.
All right, boys and girls, I have 2 eyes. Do you have 2 eyes?
Yes, I do.
Teaching is reaching to touch and change the life of a growing child.
I can learn to read a book. Can you learn to read a book?
Yes, I can learn to read a book.
Why does she have to open that?
As we move toward a unified profession, it is crucial that we continue to improve standards. Crucial that teachers have the freedom to teach. Academic freedom is a priceless thing. Sometimes it is endangered because of something as slight as an article printed in the school paper. Wilmer Calvin, now teaching in Springfield, Missouri, recalls a time when his belief in free speech almost cost him his career.
I had allowed my students to editorialize on a dress code that had been placed in effect in the school, and also upon improvements in the student council.
NEA guarantees that no educator shall lose his right to teach because he lacks the resources to defend himself when that right is challenged.
I know, because it happened to me. My contract was rescinded 1 week after I had been given written promise of employment for the coming school year. I was called in at 9:30 at night without any prior warning, without any opportunity for a hearing, for explanation of any kind. I contacted my local teachers association and requested of them that they assist me in securing help from the State Teachers Association and also from the Duchesne Emergency Fund of the National Education Association. I followed through those channels, and ultimately the Duchesne Fund supported my case, and now they have spent thousands of dollars in my defense. I was forced to take employment in a city distant to Brookfield, and so the loss of the sale of my home, the moving expenses, the loss of my wife's job, all of these things that I had possessed in Brookfield, including a reputation which I had built for a number of years, suddenly vanished overnight. Of course, needless to say, it was a traumatic experience for my children. I found it almost impossible to believe that the national organization could care about my plight here in Missouri. But that was the case. And on those occasions when I was extremely dejected because of my circumstances. The friendly voice of NEA assured me that they would do everything in their power to help me, and indeed they did.
Every teacher in America has an opportunity to receive assistance through a local association. And actually, the local association is the heart of our professional organization today.
Not only for individual teachers, groups of teachers as well. In a small New Jersey town, 200 educators led by Ed Gallagher are involved in a case that may force all school boards to negotiate with teachers such things as curriculum development, discipline, class size. Ed, a classroom teacher, appealed to his state and national associations for help when negotiations with the board reached a state of impasse.
Ed, did you think we'd ever reach this point when you agreed to be our chief negotiator?
I certainly didn't anticipate the sort of troubles we had. In past years, Tom, you know, the Board of Education in Ramsey has always been at least willing to discuss issues with us, so that we were quite surprised this year when they decided they were not going to even discuss the 20-some-odd issues that we had before us.
And that's when we had to go to the membership and get their approval to file charges against the board.
Yeah, the teachers felt very strongly about the issues involved.
That's right, Ed. In fact, because of the magnitude of your case, we felt that we wanted the best legal counsel available, and we called on Bob Shannon of the NEA.
The case is important because it focuses on an area of disagreement between school boards and teacher organizations throughout the country. That is, the question of what subjects will become negotiable. Which ones must the parties discuss across the table?
It would have been impossible without him. He's terrific.
Fantastic man. And he brought in Dr. Dougherty of Cornell University, who as an expert witness in the field of labor relations.
There's no doubt about it that this case is going to have statewide implications, because for the first time we'll be able to have some kind of definition of terms and conditions of employment that teachers work with. And this is going to have a great impact on all of the teacher board negotiations in this state.
It's going to have an impact in many other states, indeed in every state which defines the scope of negotiation in similar terms, working conditions or terms and conditions of employment. While the Ramsey case is an example of a situation in which the teachers have a precise legal remedy to resolve their problems, that isn't always the situation.
I think we have seen that the strike throughout history has been a very legitimate weapon.
With regard to teachers striking, I feel that it is unprofessional. But if it's the only way that they can get a better education for the children in their classroom, I feel they should strike.
I think teacher organizations, more than any other group, would prefer to avoid a strike. Most organizations approach negotiation in good faith with a sincere desire to make the process work in a rational and meaningful way. The strikes and the other problems that we've had are not the result of a planned strategy. I think they're a spontaneous reaction to the intransigence of school boards.
You know, somebody made somewhat of a dirty remark. They said I started this mess. I really didn't. What happened was that the teachers of Los Angeles just proved that they have a conscience.
I think our experience indicates that to successfully carry out a strike, a teacher organization needs legal support, public relations help, financial support, and not the least important element is the moral support of colleagues throughout the country. I think both the state and national organization provide that type of support in a strike situation.
Strikes are a last resort. They will become less necessary as more states pass professional negotiation laws. For the negotiation process will give teachers a powerful voice and another step before they are backed against the wall. What's new in the 70s is that teachers are speaking up across the nation on issues that are of common concern. Money for education.
I think teachers have said many times and are insistent upon the fact that they are not going to underwrite the cost of quality education with their own pocketbooks.
Their image.
NEA can reach the people where an individual teacher can't.
their professional rights.
Teachers need to be able to grab hold of their future.
Teachers and their associations are learning that the way to gain these cumulative goals is through control of their profession. Dr. Fred Hipp, NJEA's executive secretary, has been working toward professional governance in consultation with NEA experts.
And their advice, actually throughout this project, has been invaluable. We had to come to the conclusion that we really didn't know how our members felt about a lot of questions in this whole area of teacher certification and admission to the profession and self-governance.
I think I agree with you. I think that we need performance criteria for certification.
Across the country, local teacher associations are concerned with where they stand and where they're going.
Simply to come out of college because we've covered a certain number of courses actually doesn't say that we are ready.
Education associations provide the means for achieving what teachers want.
That was my question. Is it going to be local or is it going to be county or is it going to be state?
Well, this could be developed along the organization of the NEA, starting with a local board and going to the county board and then going to the state board possibly and have some people involved from every level.
Who sits on the state board and determines whether or not a teacher's certificate should be revoked or whether he should keep that certificate? We have a large group of administrators and counselors, but very few actual teachers. I think one of the most effective ways we can improve evaluation at the state level would be have more active classroom teachers on the Board of Examiners.
Who is going to sit on what type of teachers? I will agree that teachers should sit on the board, but what type of teachers should have?
These are classroom teachers, articulating exactly what teachers want of themselves, of their organization, of their profession.
And this is the criteria, performance.
When educational goals require new legislation, NEA provides expert counselors to help introduce and pass such bills.
We're going to try very soon to get a number of states together that have moved along as you have in terms of trying to get some kind of a Teaching Professions Act.
The goal in this case is a governance bill that will set standards of accountability. Teachers want to govern accreditation, licensure, and all the other professional aspects of education.
We're talking here about the control of the profession as opposed to the control of education, or to put it another way, the governance of the profession as opposed to the governance of education. And in doing that...
Future legislation is being explored at many levels. NEA's immediate past president, George Fisher, confers with the student NEA. Nearly 100,000 young teachers-to-be who are determined to have a voice in the 70s.
We thought it was about time that student NEA point out some things in the administration, just as the NEA has done.
Charles, I think it's very important that the federal administration began to listen to the student NEA for these reasons. One, it's the largest student organization in America, college students. Two, it doesn't represent the left that the administration seems to fear, the far left, nor the far right. If they won't listen to you, who represent the middle and the large group, they're in trouble.
I think we have a definite part in decision-making on every aspect in education. We are the consumers of education. Everybody has everything to gain by just listening to what students have to say.
For some time, the student NEA has worked through the legislative process to secure the 18-year-old vote. As America's largest professional organization, NEA can put its strength behind legislation that benefits all its members. These legislative efforts are by necessity monumental and require the work of many full-time consultants. NEA has supported and will continue to support numerous bills that will make available more general aid to education, for instructional materials, and for teacher salaries. There is not a single person teaching who does not benefit from federal funds.
Congressman, I stopped in to express the appreciation of the NEA for what you've done on this Medicare bill.
Well, John, thank you, and I want to thank you and the people in NEA who helped us accomplish this. As you know, a great number of school teachers, those presently working and those retired, do not have Social Security coverage. And because of that, they did not have hospitalization under Medicare. It's a matter
Congressman James Corman of California agrees with Dr. Lumley that teachers must be given protection.
We've won the first round. I think we'll win the fight. We have just got the Ways and Means Committee to report out a bill which will give them that protection. And had it not been for the vigorous support of NEA, we wouldn't have had the votes.
The Mobile Teacher Act, introduced by Chairman Carl Perkins of the House Education and Labor Committee, will protect teachers' retirement benefits even when they move from state to state.
It's a great pleasure for me, Doctor, to see that this mobile teacher retirement bill is moved at the earliest possible moment.
In agreement with NEA, and as a longtime friend of education, Congressman Perkins believes in full federal partnership in education.
That's wonderful. I will do everything that I possibly can do to see that we move the bill immediately.
Building powerful legislation includes countless interviews with members of the teaching profession. NEA Executive Secretary Dr. Sam Lambert is one who maintains the NEA cannot wait for things to happen, but must cause them to happen.
Sam, certainly we're all familiar with the National Bill of Rights as part of the Constitution. How would a teacher's Bill of Rights compare to this?
Well, I think a teacher Bill of Rights would be very comparable, except, of course, we would deal with teacher rights and responsibilities as a teacher and working in the field of education. Let's suppose that a Board of Education insisted on putting 50 pupils in first, second, and third grade classes, where the teaching of reading is impossible under such an assignment. The Bill of Rights would tend to protect teachers from this type of assignment.
Sam, what would happen if a Board of Education violated the Bill of Rights?
Probably a very straightforward answer is that teachers would refuse to practice under such conditions. And if all teachers among the 2 million members would refuse to operate this way, the Board of Education couldn't force on teachers this kind of an assignment.
That is an NEA goal. 2 million members of the profession speaking with one powerful voice.
People are seeing teachers as being more willing than they ever have been before to stand up for what they believe.
The teacher is the most important piece of equipment in the classroom.
But very often boards of education ask us to behave as professionals and then in turn do not treat us as such.
No longer can we expect a teacher to stay in the classroom and accept less than adequate teaching conditions.
They say we work from 9 to 3, have nothing to do when we go home. But anyone teaching knows that when you go home, you have another 5 or 6 hours to put in.
NEA is convinced that we can no longer expect teachers to teach for dedication alone.
We deserve the same share of the economic pie that we helped create.
NEA, I believe, above all, has got to be a supportive organization.
One of our goals at NEA is to have available a staff member for every group of 1,200 teachers. In this way, we can strengthen the profession where it is most important, at the grassroots level.
It definitely should be that teachers or someone involved in the educational world should hire teachers.
NEA is determined that teachers shall control the teaching profession.
We're still a little below the other learned professions, but we're going to keep pulling and moving it up until we equal them.
I think an organization usually represents unity.
NEA, as part of the unified profession, should be where the action is. And by that I mean at the local level, at the state level, and certainly as our voice at the national level, at the White House, and in Congress.
NEA President Helen Bain sums it up.
We are determined to see that the public is made aware of the real needs of public education. As members of the teaching profession, we have made a collective decision. No longer will we leave the future of public education in the hands of the present local, state, and national political structure.
Alone, one teacher cannot make his voice heard beyond the classroom. United, 2 million can sound as one, can begin to shape the future. These teachers care. Do you?